Hello everyone, I wanted to chat about trigger stacking today. First of all, what is trigger stacking? Trigger stacking is the process where stressful events lead to the release of certain chemicals in your dog's body, and those chemicals take a while to stick around before they disappear out of your dog's body. And essentially, the more of these hormones that accumulate, the more stressed your dog is, and the more your dog is going to behave differently, and not necessarily in a good way, as a result of those chemicals. It's really, really important to note that those chemicals happen not just from what we consider to be traditional stress, i.e. bad things. Going to the vets, having injections, having someone react at them, accidentally treading on their toe, the clock's changing and their dinner's being late by 5 seconds, things like that. So all of the things that you would say, yes, that stresses my dog out, that contributes to trigger stacking. But also the good stuff. So anything that takes our body away from baseline, i.e. sort of neutral in your dog's chemistry, internal chemistry, like in their bloodstream, things like that, that is biologically defined as stress. So if your dog feels the need to go to the toilet, they are stressed biologically. They may not be feeling stressed, they may not be looking stressed, but their body has been taken away from baseline. So anytime your dog does something exciting, chasing a ball, going training, doing agility, going for a swim, anything like that is stressful for your dog, whether you like it or not. And that's good stress. That's part of stress that we love. That's the sort of stress that in humans is us playing video games, is us going to social events, is us doing exercise, is us partaking in pretty much any of our hobbies. That is all stress, and it accumulates stress in the same way that the bad things do towards trigger stacking. So the current evidence we have on how long it takes for these stress hormones to move out of the body is anything from 3 hours to 3 days. So I always tell people, you know your dog's best. I can look at one of my dogs and go, you're going to need a day off from after this. I can look at one of them and go, you're going to be fine in an hour's time. So use your judgment and use what you know about your dog. If you know that going to the vets is going to stress your dog out significantly, that might be 3 days. However, for a dog like Pumbaa, he actually loves going to the vets. He ate cat poo out of a bin once, and that was that. So for Pumbaa, he'll be fine an hour or so after the vets. For Timon does need 2-3 days off after the vets because it stresses him out that much. So look at your dog, look what is completely stressful for them in terms of both good and bad stress, and also play it by ear. So for example, if a dog reacts at your dog across the road, so the other side of the road, does that make your dog trigger stacked? Is your dog more likely to react after that dog, or do they not care, or are they slightly more likely to react, or are they not at all bothered? So it's on a scale, and you need to figure out where your dog is on that scale for each of those individual triggers, and even for things you don't think about. So at the moment, it's bonfire night. All of our dogs are going to be trigger stacked tomorrow. If they are worried about fireworks, I'm going to be trigger stacked tomorrow because I'm worried about my dog who's worried about the fireworks. So it sways with time of year, it sways with what you're doing, and it sways with who your dog is and who they are in life. So for once upon a time, going to the vets with Pumbaa was stressful. It's now the best thing in the world. Why is this important when it comes to our festive foundations? Christmas is really, really stressful for dogs. It doesn't really matter who your dog is. It's stressful. We have people over, we have changes of routine, we have members of the family around more that aren't normally around more, which contributes to those routine changes. We have changes in places, we have a change in the people that your dog will experience. There's new stuff in the house, there's the Christmas tree, there's the presents. There's probably a few more rules for the dogs as well, like our dogs can get away with jumping on us day to day. They're not going to get away with that at Christmas time. Our dogs, we just manage the house so that anything that we don't want them to get them Sonic, anything we don't want Sonic to have, she does not have access to. However, at Christmas that gets a lot harder, especially if we're traveling to a family's house, because we essentially have to keep her on lead, or we've got to literally manage her every single second and keep our eye on her and be like, move away, come over here. And of course, the more we do that, the more she wants whatever it is. So Christmas is a really stressful period of time, and if your dog doesn't like other people, or doesn't like all people, or doesn't like other dogs, or doesn't like any dogs, if your dog is a dog that, like Pumbaa, likes to go for his hour's walk, likes a little bit of action in the day, but then needs a good 9 hours a day to sleep all of that excitement off, Christmas is really, really stressful because they're not getting that rest. So behaviour problems occur a lot more around Christmas time because of all of those stress factors that are going on. And we can prevent this as much as possible by offering decompression in the form of nice, calm, sniffy walks. So I'm not talking go out and throw the ball. We're not wanting to take the dogs to Disneyland when they're already trigger stacked and when they've already got those stress hormones in the body. We want to offer nice, calm, like mooches in very sniffy areas, free movement out in nature as much as we can, rather than a quick walk around the block, or a go out and play with all your dog friends, or a go out and let's just get you exercise, let's throw a load of balls for you and all of that. We want calm, relaxed walk in nature. Like, consider a nice, relaxing sunset walk along the beach. That's the sort of thing we're after. We can also offer decompression in the form of quiet time. So, like I said with Pumbaa, he's a dog that does sleep for most of the day now. And he finds sleep very decompressing. So I need to be able to offer him somewhere where he can go and have that sleep. And he needs to be able to have an uninterrupted sleep for a very decent period of time. Now, for him, that might be going in my van for a few hours because he's happy sleeping in there because he's used to going to shows in it and resting in it throughout the year. However, for other dogs, if your dog doesn't like being in the car, that's an awful idea. If your dog has separation anxiety, that's another thing you have to factor in. It's a lot. We can offer decompression in a number of other ways, which I'll be talking through throughout the rest of this month. But the other way we can help with decompression in order to reduce trigger stacking is to stick to routine where possible. So if you're staying at home but family are coming to you, try going on your dog's regular walks at the rough time of day you would do it normally. And let those walks be relatively sniffy, relatively relaxing. Maybe do 2 walks, one where family come with and one where it's just the person that normally walks the dogs or the people that normally walk the dog then. And then if your dog has set times of rest, make sure they're getting that. So for example, my Christmas day will look something like me walking Pumbaa having a few hours at home. And getting his normal life. It's perfectly normal for him to go out for a walk in the morning and then be left at home alone for a few hours whilst I go out to work. So I can offer him that, and then the rest of, like, the other half of his day can be different, but then half of his day has been exactly as it would normally be. So start to have a think about trigger stacking, start to plan how you can mitigate it. If you have any questions about how to mitigate something, so for example, guests in the house, kids running around, things like that, feel free to post in the comments and I will do my best to offer solutions. Obviously, I'm not going to know your entire circumstances, so it may be that I come back with a load of questions, but I am more than happy to sit and talk through various things that may trigger your dog and how to reduce those triggers.